has come to our family.
I'm Reginald Gickington, and you can call me Reggie, and today we'll be continuing our painting journey through the miniatures of the Darkest Dungeon board game by Mythic Games. I've been missing in action for a little while. My fault, I've been working on some other painting projects. But to make up for it, today I'm going to be doing another massive speed round, running through 12 minis, the entire Darkest Cult. That's the Ascended Brawler, Witch, Priest, and the Rapturous Cultists. Once these 4 are complete, we can take our first steps into the 4th act and the Darkest Dungeon itself. So without any further ado, let's dive right in. Now, I'm going to be introducing each step along with which mini they apply to, as these minis are all fairly similar but not completely identical in the steps we're taking to complete them. First up, we're using Somber Gray and Royal Purple. The former is going to go on any of the cloth elements on any of the minis, and the latter is going to go on any of the flesh growths. You don't need to worry about doing it for things like actual human skin, but rather things like the tumorous growths caused by the dungeon itself. Next up, we're going to dry brush Warlord Purple on all of the purple elements. This is an awful lot like what we did ages ago for the Eldritch elements of the Collector, intentionally so. The purple and pink undertones will shine through in the recesses and give it a very disgusting and alien appearance, but ultimately, these minis are going to be much more red than the beige skin tone of the Collector's flesh. On the Brawler, Witch, and Priest, we're applying Black Templar to all the cloth elements. Then, on the Rapturous Cultist, we're using Wildwood on the pants and boots. You could alternatively go for an even lighter brown if you want a greater contrast, but I didn't feel it was necessary. Incidentally, this is the reason we started with such a bright color instead of black, since contrast paints work best on light tones, and I wanted a cool blue undertone to the fabric to contrast against the warm pink and red tones of the flesh. We're doing reds and golds now. All of the red fabric elements are going to get corn red applied to them. These tend to be ropes and tassels on the Brawler and the Witch. Then, on everything else except the Rapturous Cultists, we're doing trim, details, and metalwork using Liberator Gold, which is an even warmer bright gold than the standard Retributor armor we've been using thus far in this series, which should help make these guys stand out. The next step is going to be handling the skin, that is to say, the human skin, for which we're using tan. Careful around your contrast paints, since if you spill over onto those, you'll need to redo them all the way back from step 1, Somber Gray. Wash time! Carroburg Crimson is going on all of the flesh growths, brown wash of your choice, I'm using Army Painter Strong Tone, on the gold parts, and although it's not a wash, we're using Gilliman flesh on the skin. for the skin, we're going to highlight it using Cadian Flesh Tone. I'm taking the time and effort to highlight the muscles on the Brawler and Witch, and then the Rapturous Cultist, who is mostly skin, I'm just going to do a heavy dry brush all over. Then, on the Brawler and the Witch, on the red tassels and ropes, we're dotting them with Mephiston Red. We're also, on all of the minis, going to do an extremely thorough and heavy dry brush of Mephiston Red on the fleshy growths. Please be careful not to overbrush onto any of the details we've spent so much time and effort on so far. It's unavoidable to an extent, but still, the less cleanup we have to do, the better. Now we're going to touch up the robes and fabric. We're using Corvus Black as a general highlight, and then strokes of Dark Sea Blue as an edge highlight on some of the details. Think the edge of the priest's hood, the hem of the witch's dress, etc. Let's handle the bones now. We're going to do a heavy dry brush of Rakarth flesh all over the bony spine of the priest, and then behind the tentacle, there's a few vertebrae visible that we can get away with just edge highlighting, since the area is too small for a proper dry brush. Then, on the witch, her bottom jaw has visible teeth, for which we're using a series of very small dots, also done in Rakarth flesh. Returning to just the Rapturous Cultist, we're going to use Charred Brown to highlight the shoes and loincloth, which should be a pretty quick and easy process. There are black eyes visible all over the growths on the Rapturous Cultist, and on the back of the Brawler. For these, we're going to use Doom Death Black, and then you can either dot these with white to give them the appearance of wetness, or in my case, I recently acquired a gloss varnish that I was excited to try out, and whose results I'm very pleased with. Just be sure to reapply it after you do your matte varnish at the end, since you want the maximum reflective sheen. And then we're going to finish them all with the standard steps of Mechanicus Standard Gray, Stone, Black Wash all over that, Black Templar for the base rim, and then Doom Death Black for the shadows. And now the Darkest Cult is complete. They look great alongside the cultists we painted months and months and months ago, with a much darker and deeper tone, indicating a true descent into horrifying depravity. Not to mention the disgusting fleshy parts that have so much vibrancy and contrast because of that lovely purple undertone we started with. I'm very happy with these guys for sure, and I'm excited to finally take my party into the dungeon to face them head on. Have fun painting your Darkest Dungeon miniatures, and feel free to tag me on Instagram @ReggieGick to show me how yours turn out. Links to my affiliated socials can be found in the description. Feel free to subscribe or like the video if you enjoyed it, and I'll see you soon with another painting tutorial.